guys, welcome back to my channel. So basically the House is taking its final steps of basically the impeachment and is now sending the articles of impeachment. Here's more.
To approve the two articles of impeachment, including, well, not only the articles of impeachment, but to send those articles of impeachment over to the Senate so the trial can begin. They've also voted on the managers chosen by Nancy Pelosi. And those managers include one individual that I think is doing a decent job, Representative Jerry Nadler. So let's go to the next graphic. Pelosi turned to House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam B. Schiff and Judiciary Committee Chairman Gerald Nadler to lead the House team. Nadler headed the second phase of the House impeachment.
So Nadler, 72, heading the second phase of the House impeachment inquiry, laying the constitutional foundations for adoption of the two articles, alleged abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, and shepherding them to the House floor. This is from the Washington Post. Here it is.
Inquiry, laying the constitutional foundation for the adoption of the two articles, which include abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, alleging abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, and shepherding them to the House floor. And today, Representative Nadler actually gave an impressive and impassioned speech. I would like to see more of this from Democrats, but I want to give you a little sense of what it looked like today. Take a look.
This trial is necessary because President Trump gravely abused the power of his office when he strong-armed a foreign government to announce investigations into his domestic political rival. He betrayed our country when he used the powers of his office, including withholding vital U.S. military assistance, to pressure that government to help him win re-election. He invited foreign interference into our elections. Again, he jeopardized our national security. He did all this for his personal political gain. And then he violated the Constitution by stonewalling Congress's efforts to investigate, ordering an absolute blockade of evidence. But we still have not heard the whole truth, because the president has refused to allow a single document to be turned over to the House in response to our impeachment subpoenas. And he has prevented us from hearing key witnesses as well. The American people have common sense. They know that any trial that does not allow witnesses is not a trial. It is a cover-up. The Senate is on trial. We will see whether they conduct a fair trial and allow the witnesses or conduct a cover-up.
So it's now being reported that the U.S. Senate is expected to formally accept the articles of impeachment tomorrow, Thursday. Also, Nadler cited an overwhelming case for Trump's removal, but also said it was incumbent upon the Senate to call additional witnesses, deeming it a test of the Constitution. In the next clip, Mitch McConnell discusses witnesses a little bit. Let's take a look.
Some in your conference have suggested that if Democrats are calling witnesses like John Bolton, they may also want to call witnesses such as Hunter Biden. Would you support calling Hunter Biden?
Well, I think we'll be dealing with the witness issue at the appropriate time into the trial. And I think it's certainly appropriate to point out that both sides would want to call witnesses that they wanted to hear from. So when you get to that issue, I can't imagine that only the witnesses that our Democratic colleagues would want to call would be called.
Look, let's understand one thing here. The Senate is dominated by Republicans. Mitch McConnell is the Senate Majority Leader. They get to decide the rules, unfortunately. Now, there's been some pressure.
So basically there's being pressure to basically have witnesses in this trial. That is true. And it sucks that they are the ones having to make the rules. So, basically, we might be screwed, or we might not be screwed. I don't know. We're more likely to be screwed. But it's been rumored that 4 Republican senators, Mitt Romney, Susan Collins, Martha McCaskey, and what was it? Martha McSally, I think. Basically having to decide the rules. So yeah, basically, Mitt Romney says, I want to hear John Bolton's testimony. Oh wait, I don't think it was Martha McSally. I think it was Mike Lee. I don't know. But yeah. So basically they decide the rules. And there's you only need 51 votes to get witnesses. So it's a rumor. But let's see what Anna has to say.
By vulnerable Republican senators to vote on witnesses, and Senator Collins happens to be one of those vulnerable senators. But at the end of the day, they get to decide what the rules are. Do I think that the Bidens are actually going to testify? No. But do I think that everyone that should testify is going to end up testifying, on behalf of the Democrats? No, of course not. I mean, we'll see how this plays out. But he gets to make the rules. That's why these congressional races are so important.
Yep.
And we need to really hone in on those vulnerable senators, Republican senators.
Attack them viciously.
Out.
Including Mitch McConnell.
Mm-hmm.
God, that would be great. Yeah, there should obviously be witnesses, as there have been in every other time that we've gone through this as a country. And in particular here, if the issue is that the president and the White House are obstructing justice, if they're withholding witnesses, if they're withholding documents, if they are making it impossible for the co-equal branch of government that is our legislature to do their job, then when we kick it up to the Senate, which is the senior body, more distinction and all of that, it's even more on them to get to the truth and to put more pressure on the White House. Now, obviously, with the partisan nature of our country, that's not going to happen. But that's even more of a shame because the people have a right to know what actually happened. And you would think that there would be a handful, this is a small number of Republicans who would have enough respect for themselves and their position, the body that they serve in, to want to know what actually happened.
Right.
But they don't.
They don't. And there's something about that job, right? These positions of power that attracts people who they're seduced by that power.
So,
that's really the only reason why they want the job. It's not really about representing the best interests of the American
so
people,
basically,
or protecting our Constitution,
if
or holding the
this does not
executive
work
branch
out
accountable
and
for,
they acquit him,
criminality,
we can do this. We can attack the
a lot of
Republican
these
senators who
Republican
vote,
lawmakers
the
in
votable
Congress
senators like Martha McSally,
want
Joni
to go
Ernst,
against Donald
uh,
Trump because they
Martha
know that if
Mikowski,
they do, their constituents
Susan
will
Collins,
retaliate. And so they're just worried about their political careers. That's why
and
they cross Donald Trump.
Tom Tillis,
What I fail to understand is why among
a
the
bunch of others.
Republican senators do we fail to see a single person who's willing to
And
do the right
basically, if we do that,
Right.
Among the senators, yeah, we don't.
I
guess there was just a lash on the other side. Yeah, Mitt Romney was supposed to be not only does he have the name and the national figure and the base
So,
of support specifically geographically,
basically,
not be as reliant on Donald
we
Trump's
could
approval.
weaken them
But yeah,
and also win
exactly,
more
yeah.
seats.
But even with all of those things, Trump, maybe you could tone it down a little. That's the best we can get out of him. The most safe, protected Republican incumbent potentially. We get nothing.
It's really pathetic. It really is. I don't understand it. But this is the way that they're playing. Now, one of those vulnerable Republican senators is Susan Collins. And so she's trying to have her cake and eat it too. She doesn't want to cross Trump too aggressively. But at the same time, she's trying to take credit for these, in my opinion, weak moves. What she did here is important, but it's not like she did something that she deserves a world of credit for. So, for instance, Senator Susan Collins claimed credit for pressing Senator Mitch McConnell to allow the Senate to vote on whether to subpoena witnesses or new documents in President Trump's impeachment trial. Collins said she had been working with a small group of Republicans, which include Senators Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Lamar Alexander of Tennessee, and Mitt Romney of Utah, to leave open the possibility. So these are those are the vulnerable senators, and they're like,
Ooh.
hey, McConnell, we're just hoping that maybe in the Senate trial we can call some witnesses. Can we vote? Can we vote on that? Wow, congratulations. Really strong.
One of the potential witnesses, it was just revealed, was having communications with, a wannabe gangster to knock off an ambassador, and maybe we'll hear from him. Maybe.
It's crazy.
he was gonna like, you're a representative of the United States government. This group of like weirdos were gonna kill someone in a similar position to you, someone representing the United States government, and they're like, do we really need to talk to the guy that might have killed Maria Yovanovitch?
They
Do
all
we really
know.
need to?
Every single one of those Republican lawmakers, including Trump's fiercest defenders, know that what Trump did violates our Constitution. It goes against everything the country is supposed to stand for. And they also know that if the tables were turned and we had a Democrat in office, they would immediately impeach this person and remove them, right? But in the case of Donald Trump, they want to protect their career, and they want to prevent Trump from tweeting something nasty at them. They don't want the harassment of Trump's base.
Yeah, and now you have an added little bit of layer of thinking, well, if Trump and his inner circle are willing to deploy the threat of murder against their critics, do I really want to speak out against them now?
So
maybe it's just ambassadors. Maybe they wouldn't kill a senator. Maybe they have a line.
This country is devolving rapidly under the Trump administration and the leadership of Republicans in the Senate. I'm the Derpy Dragon from our members section comments in and says, Republicans say, screw respect, I have money. And you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Our members are incredible. You can become a member by going to tyt.com/join. That helps to support this show. But you're absolutely right. They don't care about respect. They don't care about doing the right thing. They don't care about protecting our Constitution. They care about their career. They care about the money. They care about the power. That's it. That's all that matters.
Yep.
That's why those vulnerable ones need to be targeted by Democrats to get them out of office.
Like I said.
We're doing so much time at the beginning of this year and last year already. We have talked to
So,
many candidates.
basically,
many of them running against these vulnerable Republican senators. So
we need to start attacking Republican senators viciously. We need to start fighting harder, harder, and harder. We might win.
Well, let's move on
The
to one
majority.
other angle to this impeachment story.
Okay.
And this is beyond worrying, troublesome. Has to do with press restrictions.
So this is the
The
witnesses.
Senate is attempting to severely restrict press coverage of the impeachment trial, and this is something that it has drawn significant backlash for obvious reasons. This is a huge deal, and the American people deserve to know what's going on during this trial. However, these restrictions go too far. The Senate Sergeant at Arms and Capitol Police are adding restrictions on members of the press during the trial, including additional screening and new constraints on reporters' freedom of movement in the Capitol. The restrictions allow just one video camera and no still photography or audio recording in the trial. Credentialed reporters who go through security screening to enter the Capitol will be screened a second time to enter the Senate chamber to watch the trial proceedings to ensure no restricted materials enter the trial. The restrictions, which the committee said potentially include confining reporters to a single press pen on the second floor of the Senate, threaten to curtail reporters' access to senators during a historic impeachment trial. On a normal day, reporters are free to try to talk with senators outside the Senate chamber, in the basement, or in the hallways of the Capitol. So basically, look, this is what's going on. Republican senators don't want to deal with difficult questions as they enable the criminality of Donald Trump. That's what's happening here. And the Senate is willing to violate the First Amendment in order to protect these disgusting, corrupt senators.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Yeah, AOC was 100% right, like a billion years ago when she said this is about getting them on the record, and they're trying to make
we
it
must
so
get them on the record.
On the record as possible.
Exactly.
Like, okay, I guess we technically have to have a trial, but don't take any pictures of me and don't record my voice and leave me alone in the hallways. And it's such a specific, weird level of restriction that you can't do still photography. But you can do a video camera that takes 30 still photos a second for as long as you want. What are they talking about? I'm hoping that there will still be enough access that they will be able to have their video cameras. I'm hoping that they'll still be able to put them on the record.
Well, these restrictions cannot stand. They just can't. And so there needs to be a fight over this. Obviously not a physical fight, but this needs to be challenged.
If there was a physical fight, we may never know.
We're not advocating for a physical fight, just to be clear. but I do want to give you some of the backlash that the Senate is
Oh,
receiving.
great.
Don't smirk.
I didn't
You
smirk.
think
What?
you're so funny.
The camera's not even on me. I'm not advocating for anything. The camera's not on me.
So,
Don't
basically,
okay?
Don't record his voice.
this is basically
Okay, well,
taking away
let's
the
talk
First
about some
Amendment for
backlash,
it.
because the Standing Committee of Correspondents, a group of reporters who represent and advocate for credentialed media in the Senate Daily Press Gallery, sent a forceful letter to Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Minority Leader Charles Schumer decrying the possible restrictions.
That ought to do it.
So just, I know, strong letters make me laugh. No one cares about strong letters.
Perhaps if we shame McConnell, he will do what is right.
No, this should be taken up. This should be taken up in the courts, I think. This is crazy. This is a violation of reporters' First Amendment rights. We're supposed to have freedom of the press, especially when it comes to situations like this, where Congress is supposed to be holding the executive branch accountable. This is, remember, we have a system of checks and balances. Does that matter to anyone anymore?
Not too many.
It's pathetic. Well, here's a little snippet from the letter that was sent to the Senate. Capitol Hill is one of the most accessible places in Washington, but the proposed restrictions exceed those put in place during the State of the Union, Inauguration Day, or even during the Clinton impeachment 20 years ago. The gallery committee said they had tried to work with the Rules Committee and the Senate Sergeant at Arms, but every suggestion they made was rejected without an explanation of how the restrictions contribute to safety rather than simply limit coverage of the trial.
Yeah, because it's hard to explain the danger that is posed by a JPEG being taken of a senator as he walks down a hallway.
Right.
It's hard to explain.
So, they don't want the senators getting questioned. They don't want this to have big coverage.
So they're avoiding having to even have that argument.
So,
We need to do better, guys. We need to do better. We need to get these people out of Congress.
and out of
I mean,
office,
they're
and out of the Senate.
violating our Constitution and dismantling any type of protection that reporters and average Americans have. This is gross.
It is.
This sucks.
So that's what's going on. We got to take a break, and when we
So,
come back, we
bye,
have
guys.
more news for you. We're going to
Thanks
switch
for
gears a
watching.
little bit and talk a little bit about what's going on in the Democratic side, including